You always had your eyes on November, but you obviously knew there was a lot of work to take care of prior to it. So we feel real strong where we are, and we're looking forward to a November that we'll all remember.
A great showing on senior day here in Oakwood, proving why they are #1 in the power rankings and soon to be the best team in the state of New York. And all I gotta say is that this team is something different than we have seen before.
Welcome back to the Monsignor Farrell Podcast Network. My name is Peter Kennedy, class of 2012 and Director of Alumni Affairs. I have the pleasure of sitting down with class of 2005 head coach of varsity football, once again, Coach Rocco Del Priore. We talked preseason about a lot of goals, which we're going to talk about how some of those goals have been met thus far, but many more to go. Coach, thanks for doing this.
You're the man. Thanks, Pete.
How you doing going into playoffs? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a great time of the year. It's November. It's something we always look forward to. A tough division, a tough schedule. You always had your eyes on November, but you obviously knew there was a lot of work to take care of prior to it. So we feel real strong where we are, and we're looking forward to a November that we'll all remember.
There you go. And right now, just to give a specific timestamp, we're recording this on November 5th. Normally, maybe normally is the wrong word. In many years, you guys would be heavily preparing for a first-round playoff game this weekend.
Yes,
in 2 days or in 3 days away. However, this year, you guys secured not just the the first week bye in the playoffs, but the #1 seed for the regular season. You had your goals. You talked about your 7 goals, the 7 letters on the chest preseason. Yep. Now that you sit here with the playoff bye in hand, where is that goal update? Where are you at on the 7 goals?
So the first goal was to win our non-leagues. We didn't accomplish that. We were 2-1. Our only loss was to a tough Del Barton team from the Big North, New Jersey. Hopefully we get to reschedule that next year. Then our next goal was to dominate the island, in which we did, beating Peters 48-13, and then 2 weeks ago, St. Joe's 28-6. So we checked that off. Another goal was to obviously win the division, first time since 1993. So that was a big check. We wanted to host a first-round playoff game, which we indeed will, Friday, November 14th, 6 p.m., semifinal here in Oakwood. And then the next goal is to get to a championship, which would be to win the playoff game, which was a goal, was to win the quarterfinal goal. We've already accomplished that without having to play. So, and then obviously win a state championship.
Yeah, so right now, it feels like you should be technically 3/4 of the way, maybe more than that, through your season.
Right.
But in a weird way, it feels like the season's just beginning.
Yes, it
right?
is.
So we're going to go back and talk about some of the great accomplishments you guys had this year. But this new season, the playoffs, it really starts now. And in a way, it started last game of the regular seasons against Cardinal Hayes, which the regular eye could look at and say, oh, it's a regular game, whatever. Yeah, they want to be undefeated in the league. But in theory, there was kind of a winner-go-home mentality in that sense, because you knew that the 1 seed was on the line. You knew that home field advantage could have been on the line. You knew that you didn't want your guys to let the foot off the gas with this bye week ahead. So what is the mentality of the team right now officially going into technical winner-go-home football, that you're trying to instill in them?
So, same as it's been. We're priding ourselves, this team, on our toughness, our execution, and our effort. And we've played tough all year, and we've played with tremendous effort. Saturday we executed, I'd say the best we have all season. So that's very exciting moving into the playoffs. This week is a great opportunity for us to self-scout, to look at our inefficiencies, to see our weaknesses, take our strengths, and really mold them and get better. And I've seen that happen so far the first 2 days. Looking forward to a great rest of the week.
Yeah, no, it's important to keep the mentality, right? You get a week off, and you always hear this, the rest versus rust. That's like the conversation they have in the NFL sometimes when you get that bye. Oh, they're going to be rested, but are they going to be rusty? It sounds like you guys are taking every precaution to keep that rust off and stay aggressive going into the first playoff game. So now let's take a step back. Let's head back to the earlier parts of the season, the midseason, and et cetera, to talk about some of the great performances we had this year. Let's start off with our captains because we interviewed them preseason.
Yeah.
You wanted them to set the tone, and I think it's safe to say those guys set the tone. So let's start on the offensive side of the ball. You obviously have Kevin Gumm, who's a great running back for you all year. Bryce Moy, the sophomore quarterback, had a great year. The offense as a whole perhaps may have taken a step further than maybe people even expected. So talk about the offense and obviously the leadership of those two guys.
Sure. So it obviously starts with our coaches who did a great job of taking our roster and building a ton of depth on the offensive line at running back, and we have a very good receiver room. So the coaching's been phenomenal. Starts up front, the offensive line, senior Latin, 4 starters that are seniors, all 4-year program kids. Like I said, 2 of the 4 never started prior to this year. So it's about as good of a chemistry on the offensive line as I've seen here in my 20 plus years. Speaking of Kevin and Bryce, I think they're the best backfield in New York State. Kevin's had the year I believed he'd have, and we knew. He's physical, he's got great contact balance, and he won't be denied when running the ball. Bryce, the world may have not knew what we had here, but we did, and we've watched him grow from his freshman year to this year, in the weight room, on the field, in the classroom, and he's a leader. When I say above the shoulders, he's doing all the little things that are making it easy for the offensive line to, block the scheme the right way, and for the receivers to find the open window. And he's throwing a catchable ball. He's leading with his physical tools, but his mental tools have put the offense in a great light.
Yeah, I remember talking to you preseason about Bryce and how watching practice, you're seeing a guy as a sophomore being willing to coach his team. And that's something that is very difficult for any sophomore to do, especially at the quarterback position, to take that leadership position. But since day one of this season, he's helping his receivers get set in the right place. You said he was already making calls up front with the offensive line. That's a different level of quarterbacking that enhances the whole offense.
Big time.
One other thing that you mentioned preseason was with the coaching staff and how important it was to bring back a guy like Coach Bill Luisa. And now he's been at the helm with the offensive line, and you gave those guys a shout out already. What has been some of the standouts from an offensive style for you this year of how they're attacking and putting up a lot of points?
Sure. So we've gotten a lot of mileage out of our screen game, and Coach Mariconda's done a fantastic job of spreading the ball to our skill guys. This past Saturday, 7 different receivers caught the ball.
Wow.
So we're running screens to running backs, to slots, to tight ends, and we're doing it in a wide variety of ways. And if you watch our tape, it's impressive watching the O-line get out in front, and they're sprinting, and they're looking to put people on the floor. We're finishing our blocks. Our receivers are blocking great. And we have 4 or 5 guys who I like to call +1ers who could make a defender miss. So, I think that's been a huge part of our offense. The tempo of our offense has been great. The center getting set, A.J. Lombardi, Bryce getting the offense ready, the play call coming in, and we're churning out first down. So it helps the defense be opportunistic, and it helps the defense play with confidence because they know the offense is going to show up every week. We got to do the same.
Right, and now it's not every day that an offensive staff of Mariconda, Luisa, and the rest of the crew, and yourself, obviously, as the head coach, can look down their roster and say, okay, we got Braxton Moy on the outside, we got Alex Houston in there, we got Gianni Pasqualone in there, we got RJ Tate in there, we got Scatino, we got Tristano,
You know them all.
we got Gum,
That's a
we got
true
Vento.
receiver right there.
And you know what? It's a luxury, and there's probably names that I missed who can make plays.
Mike Libretta.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
There's
Charlie
guys who I
Costanzo.
missed, and I named about 7 guys who you trust to make plays.
Sure.
And I don't want to call out past teams because that's not what I'm trying to do here. But is this a different level of skill player that is on the roster right now?
Sure. And I said this early on. We've got great depth at the skill positions, and as a staff, we said to make a jump, to make a move. Last year we were 4th coming into this week, and now we're 1. We had to get better on the perimeter. Namely the receiver spots in the backfield defensively, and through the spring and through the summer, you kind of got an idea that they were really about to hit their stride, and they've had a great season. I expect an even better postseason.
Yeah, now is there any, I feel like this is a loaded question because there's possibly no answer to it. Is there an X factor skill player that you're looking at to run through the playoffs, or is it still just a power by committee at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Gianni has been super explosive for us. Every time he touches the ball, something good happens. He's a lockdown corner for us, so he's playing full-time defense, about 75% on offense. Same with Anthony Vento. They're our second and third backs. Gianni's a slot for us. They're averaging 8-9 yards a carry when they run the ball. And Kevin's right there at 8.
Right.
Kevin's got a boatload more carries, and Kevin's a situational defensive player for us. But those three guys are definitely going to share the wealth going down the stretch for us.
Very good. Now, let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. The captains we spoke to preseason, Dan Mastrojulio and Andrew Doyle. At the linebacking core, you highlighted a bunch of those other players as well. You pride yourself on defense. You've been a defensive coach for a long time. Now the head coach, obviously, you spread your wealth a little bit more, but defense is still your bread and butter. So what have you seen from a style point on your defensive side of the ball?
Well, I think mindset really changed, and I credit that to Coach Greg Rocco, Coach Russ Chambrone. They came up to the varsity staff this year. Coach Russ has been in the program for about 10 years on the lower levels, and I always loved how he got his DBs to play for him, and he always had that added advantage of mindset, and he's a great teacher. And Coach Rocco fully coming back this year and being the coordinator, he's instilled discipline and toughness and does a great job teaching the scheme and challenging the players. So it's as hungry of a defense as I've saw around here, and we've had some good ones in the past.
Certainly.
And just like I'd say, we have depth. We're rolling D-line like hockey lines, and we've been fortunate that our three senior linebackers, Andrew Doyle, Dan Mastrojulio, and Mike Insulaco, have been lights out for us, and they're wearing different hats. On the defensive line, Cole Savino has really been a game changer for us. Multiple sacks and TFLs a game. So he's actually leading the AAA division in sacks and tackle for losses.
Wow. Yeah, and when you have game breakers up front, it obviously helps the defensive backfield. And you mentioned already that coming into the season on the outsides was a point of emphasis to make sure you locked it in and got better there. Who in the safety positions and the corner positions have you been impressed with this year?
Sure. Well, obviously,
Everybody.
Anthony Vento, right. So we're tackling very well in the secondary, which is important because when those guys go, it's usually a huge gap. It's a big part of the field that you're tracking down. So Anthony Vento has been excellent for us. He's our safety. Charles Costanzo, sophomore, real physical, big prospect. He's going to be on a ton, if not already, a ton of Power 4 and Power 5 defensive boards as he's playing a rover spot for us and a safety spot in packages. A real short tackler, huge competitor. And then Mike Libretta has been dominant for us at corner. Another guy who could play receiver for us. And Dave Levrock became a starter after the Del Barton game and has tackled well. And I'd like to say he's the brains back there getting everybody set up in the right coverage and the right check.
Now, obviously, every year every team across the board and every level of age deals with injuries, which, you guys obviously dealt with your fair share this year as well. Anyone that's battled through adversity this year stand out to you that maybe fought back from an injury that you're proud of to see how they responded to some of that adversity?
Yeah, Matthew Tristano and Lucas Chatino, two wide receivers for us who seniors, 4-year guys, tremendous offseason, did real well in our 7-on-7 season, and unfortunately both got hurt prior to the first game, 2 or 3 days out. So Lucas came back a week earlier than Matt, and they've really starting to hit their stride now. Both had big plays in this Cardinal Hayes game, and with Gianni, Houston, Gum, and Vento playing two ways, they're going to have a nice role as the semis and the finals now.
Yeah. So now entering this playoff stretch here, Is there anything that feels different entering this, knowing that this year, different from others, not only did you beat St. Anthony's, but you beat Iona. You didn't play Stepanak this year. You didn't play Chaminade. So your first week opponent, who we don't know yet, we'll know in a few days. Besides the point, but knowing you beat the next two best teams, number 2 and number 3 in the league, does that add any confidence to you guys, the players, as well?
I mean, I'd be crazy to say no, because obviously you play those games against these top teams, and when you win, you feel good. But that's in the past now. That was October 17th. That was September 26th. It's November 5th, and we're gonna line up November 14th against either Chaminade or Stepanak, and they're well-coached teams. They're old school AAA programs that have been around, and they got depth too. So it won't be easy, and we won't take them lightly. And we're excited for the opportunity. We're confident in us, and I believe if we execute and if we play, turnover free, and we're opportunistic on defense or takeaways, we'll have no problem.
Yeah, and I think that's obviously the important aspect of it too, right? You can't look too far ahead.
No way.
Right? There's no help for you to look forward. Oh, who might we play? Iona or Anthony's? It's like, no, we play Stepanak or Chaminade first, and that's a message that I'm sure you're parlaying to the team right now, that you're constantly in their head. So what has been the messaging to them on this off week and then moving into next week?
Normally you count down to the beginning of the season. So, it's 100 days till the first game. It's, we've been saying all year, the last day is November 29th, the state championship. So, we're taking each day and enjoying it. So, we're about an hour out from a great practice today that we're focused on, and we'll get some, good group work and some good indie work. So we're trying to enjoy each day with the focus on getting better and giving ourselves every advantage we can prior to this game on November 14th.
Now let's talk about the atmosphere here in Oakwood so far this year. Sellout crowds pretty much every home game. I think it was actually every home game on the home stands. What does it mean to you and the team when you get a big play and you turn around and you see a student section going wild, when you see a full parent section, alumni up on the terrace, wherever they may be rooting for Farrell football? What has it meant to have the support you've seen this year?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's what makes us different. That's given us the advantage this year, the support and the inspiration and the love from the family, from the alumni. We can't thank you enough for your love and support to, the program and the school. And it's, in the end, what makes our program and our school different, better, and tighter than, anyone we face and anyone in this area. Looking forward to seeing you all there on, Friday the 14th, 6 p.m. and cheer loud, and we hope we'll make you proud.
That's right. And now, any last words to the audience here watching on YouTube, Monsignor Farrell High School YouTube, Monsignor Farrell Podcast Network?
Yeah, well, I just want to thank, Pete, you and, the whole team here with the communications and with the alumni. It's like, as a proud alumni, you guys go above and beyond. You guys are great at what you do, and, I know the kids love all of the, social media and all the kids doing the broadcasting. It's a special place, it's a special time. So, yeah, I'd like to thank you, my brother.
Oh, man, I appreciate that very much. And we're very excited that if you can't make it to Oakwood next Friday on November 14th, that you can watch the game on Sports Engine. You can go to Monsignor Farrell's website to find the link there, or check your emails. If you're seeing this on YouTube and you don't get our emails, reach out. We'll get you locked into the email network. You'll see a link for the game. You'll see tickets for the game, tickets for the terrace, whatever you want to do to enjoy some more Farrell football. Big playoff game against an opponent to be determined, so stay tuned for that as well. November 14th, like you said, 6 o'clock right here under lights in Oakwood. That's all we got. I'm Pete Kennedy. This is Coach Rocco Del Priore, class of 2005. Maybe we'll talk again. Maybe we'll talk again this year before another big game.
Couple times.
And I wish you the best of luck, as always, to you and the guys. Thanks
so
for
much. All right.
Signing off.